Hey everyone, Dr. N is here. Today we are discussing an important topic: integrating an AI scribe into your medical practice with minimal disruption. We will cover practical tips to help you get the most out of your scribe for a more streamlined workflow, along with guidance on discussing AI scribe with your patients. Let's jump in. Here's today's podcast where we break it all down for you.
Welcome back. Today we're diving into AI medical scribes. You know how to really make them work for you in your practice. You sent over some really interesting materials, especially focusing on finding the right scribe and really making this tech work with you, not against you.
Yeah, it's definitely a hot topic, and I think for good reason. A lot of providers are really looking for ways to streamline documentation and spend more time with their patients. And these AI tools are really, stepping in to fill that need.
Exactly. So, we like to jump right in here. I was fascinated by this article that you sent over about the pause button dilemma. This was really fascinating. It seems so simple, but it really gets at the heart of what providers are worried about. Those awkward moments when you're trying to be sensitive to the patient.
Yeah, it's a great example of how the right features can make or break your experience with AI scribes. You need a tool that adapts to your workflow, not the other way around. Imagine trying to explain a rash, but also describing its location and size out loud for the AI to catch.
Right.
Being able to pause and then add those clinical details later makes the whole process less disruptive.
Okay, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
So pause button, a must-have. What else should providers be looking for when they're comparing, all these different AI scribe options, besides the obvious stuff like, actually working on their phone or their computer?
Well, a lot of the articles you shared emphasize the importance of finding an AI scribe that aligns with your specific needs and your workflow.
Right.
For example, if you're in a fast-paced specialty, you might prioritize concise note-taking capabilities, whereas somebody in a more detail-oriented field might prefer a scribe that captures every nuance of the conversation.
Right, because a one-size-fits-all approach isn't going to cut it.
Right.
So how much should providers be thinking about how the AI integrates with their electronic health record system? I see that coming up a lot in these materials.
It's definitely something to consider, but I think the key takeaway from what you've shared is that you don't need to get bogged down in complex integrations. Simple copy and paste functionality can often be just as effective, especially in the beginning.
Okay, so keep it simple to start. I like that. But let's be real. No matter how amazing the tech is, if the AI scribe isn't accurate, it's not going to be helpful. And that seems to be a big concern for a lot of providers.
Absolutely, and rightfully so. You're entrusting these tools with sensitive medical information, so accuracy is paramount. The good news is AI has come a long way, but the articles you selected really stress that human oversight is still crucial.
So don't just hit send without looking it over.
Exactly. Think of the AI as your assistant drafting the initial notes. You're still the expert reviewing, editing, and ensuring everything is accurate and complete before signing off.
Got it. So we found an AI scribe that seems like a good fit. It's got the features we need. We're ready to give it a try. What are some tips for actually setting it up for success?
Well, one of the things that really stood out in your research was the importance of providing context to the AI before each encounter.
Okay.
Even a simple one-liner about the patient's, age, sex, and relevant medical history can help the AI better understand the conversation and generate more accurate notes.
Like giving it a little head start.
Exactly. It's like saying, okay, AI, we're about to talk to a 45-year-old male with a history of asthma. Listen up. It helps the AI focus on the relevant details and reduce the chances of errors.
And what about the physical setup itself? I mean, do we need to be in a soundproof booth or something?
Not quite, but positioning is important. The closer the device is to you and the patient, the clearer the audio will be, and the better the transcription will be. One of the articles you shared actually recommended placing the device on the exam table between you and the patient for optimal sound quality.
Now, before we move on, we need to talk about the patient in the room. How do we approach using this technology with them?
Transparency is key. Before you start using the AI scribe, let the patient know what it is and how it will be used. Explain that it helps you focus more on them by taking care of the documentation, and reassure them that their privacy is protected.
I bet that puts a lot of patients at ease. Knowing that you're not distracted by note-taking and you can really be present with them.
Absolutely. And a lot of the research you provided actually suggests that patients are quite receptive to the idea of AI scribes.
Yeah.
Especially when they understand the benefits.
That's good to hear. All right, so we've got the setup down. Let's talk workflow. What are some tips for making this whole process smooth and efficient?
One of the most practical tips I came across in your research was to start by using the AI Scribe for shorter, less complex encounters.
Okay.
This gives you a chance to get comfortable with the technology and identify any quirks or adjustments you need to make before diving into more challenging cases.
Sort of like a test drive.
Exactly. Get a feel for how the AI handles different types of conversations, how it captures your medical terminology, and you know how you need to adjust your speaking style, if at all. And remember, most AI scribes offer customization options, so don't be afraid to tweak the settings to find what works best for you.
Okay, good point, because we all have our own way of doing things. You mentioned adjusting our speaking style. Is that really necessary? I mean, can't we just talk normally?
You can certainly talk naturally, but being mindful of clear enunciation can significantly improve the accuracy of the transcription.
Makes sense. Now, I know we talked about the importance of accuracy earlier, but I want to circle back to that because it's clearly top of mind for a lot of providers. What are some practical ways to ensure those notes are really on point?
One of the most important things is to get into the habit of reviewing and editing the AI-generated notes carefully before signing off on them. Don't just skim through them. Actually read them with a critical eye as if you were reviewing a colleague's notes.
All right, so active proofreading is key. But what about those moments where the AI just gets it totally wrong? I mean, it's technology, so glitches happen, right?
They certainly can, but one of the studies you shared actually found that most errors weren't due to the AI's inability to understand speech. Instead, they were caused by things like background noise, overlapping conversations, or unclear dictation.
So user error.
In a way, yes. But the good news is these errors are usually pretty easy to spot and correct during the review process. And as you become more familiar with the technology, you'll learn how to minimize those errors from the outset.
Good to know.
Okay, quick switch up. If you're looking for a reliable, secure, and time-saving AI scribe, take a look at Scribe Medica. It's designed to help clinicians save up to 3 hours a day with accurate HIPAA-compliant notes. Link in the description below. Now, let's get back to the podcast.
Now, before we wrap up this section on workflow, I want to touch on something that might seem obvious, but it's worth mentioning. The tech itself. Anything providers need to keep in mind to avoid those dreaded mid-appointment tech fails.
You know, one of your articles brought up this exact point, and I thought it was brilliant. The author called it the tech triangle of trust. And it basically boils down to 3 essential elements: a reliable internet connection, fully charged devices, and up-to-date software.
Okay, the tech triangle of trust. I love it. It's like a mantra for the modern medical practice. So assuming we've got all that sorted out, are there any other hidden pitfalls we should be aware of?
One thing that came up in your research is the potential for workflow disruptions when using AI scribes. For example, if you're used to dictating your notes after the patient leaves, you might find it takes some adjusting to have the AI scribe capturing the conversation in real time.
Right, because it changes the whole dynamic of the encounter. Any tips for smoothing out that transition?
One of the articles you sent over suggested practicing with the AI scribe in a non-clinical setting first. Maybe try using it to capture notes during a conversation with a colleague. This can help you get comfortable with the technology and iron out any workflow kinks before using it with patients.
So practice makes perfect, even with AI. Now, I want to shift gears a bit and talk about the bigger picture here. What does the rise of AI scribes really mean for the future of healthcare? I know you've given this a lot of thought.
I have, and it's a fascinating question. While AI scribes are currently focused on medical documentation, they represent a much larger trend, the integration of artificial intelligence into healthcare as a whole.
Okay, here's where things get really interesting. Are we talking robot doctors taking over the exam room?
Not quite. While some researchers are exploring those possibilities, I think the more immediate impact of AI will be in augmenting human capabilities. Imagine a future where AI handles routine tasks like data entry, appointment scheduling, and even preliminary analysis of medical images. This frees up healthcare providers to focus on those aspects of care that require human empathy, judgment, and expertise.
So less robot doctors, more tools to help human doctors be even better.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes AI Scribe so exciting. They're a tangible example of how AI can be used to improve patient care and address some of the biggest challenges facing healthcare today.
Okay, that's a great point.
Yeah.
But let's be realistic. There are bound to be challenges and concerns as AI becomes more integrated into healthcare. And I know some providers are feeling anxious about their own roles in this future.
It's understandable that some providers might be feeling apprehensive. After all, we're talking about a technology that has the potential to fundamentally change the way healthcare is delivered.
So how do we navigate that anxiety? I mean, where do we even start?
I think one of the most important things is to stay informed and engaged. Learn about the latest developments in AI, understand both its potential benefits and its limitations, and actively participate in conversations about how this technology should be shaped and implemented.
So it's not about passively observing the rise of AI. It's about actively engaging with it and helping to steer its development in a direction that benefits both patients and providers.
Exactly. And that's where healthcare providers have such a crucial role to play. They're on the front lines interacting with patients and seeing firsthand the challenges and opportunities within the healthcare system. Their insights, expertise, and ethical considerations are invaluable in guiding the responsible development and deployment of AI in healthcare.
That's a powerful message. And it really speaks to the need for collaboration between technologists, healthcare professionals, and policymakers to ensure that AI is used in a way that truly enhances healthcare and improves patient outcomes.
Absolutely. And that brings us to another critical point: the human element in healthcare. No matter how sophisticated AI becomes, it can never replace the human connection, the empathy, the compassion, and the intuition that are at the heart of quality patient care.
Couldn't agree more. Technology can be a powerful tool, but it's the human touch that truly makes a difference in patients' lives. And as we move forward into this era of AI-driven healthcare, I think it's more important than ever to remember that. So as we wrap up this deep dive into AI scribes, what's the big takeaway for our listeners?
I think the key message here is that AI is not here to replace healthcare providers.
Right, it's not about AI versus humans, it's about AI with humans.
Exactly. It's about finding ways to use this technology to enhance our skills and really improve patient care and ultimately create a better future for healthcare.
In a future where providers have more time to focus on what truly matters, the patients themselves.
Absolutely. When we can streamline those administrative burdens and really let AI handle some of the heavy lifting, it frees us up to be more present, more engaged, and more effective in delivering compassionate care.
I love that perspective.
Yeah.
And, speaking of being present and engaged, one of the things that really struck me in these materials was this emphasis on the importance of continuous learning.
Yes. This technology is constantly evolving, and it's crucial for healthcare providers to stay ahead of the curve.
So this isn't a set it and forget it kind of thing.
Not at all. It's about ongoing education, exploring new features, and really just constantly evaluating how AI can best be integrated into your specific practice.
And I think that's a great note to end on. This isn't just about adopting a new tool. It's about embracing a new way of thinking about healthcare.
I couldn't agree more. It's a very exciting time to be in healthcare, and I'm truly optimistic about the potential of AI to really make a positive impact on both providers and patients.
Me too. Well, thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive, sponsored by Scribe Medica, an innovative AI medical scribe tool designed to help you focus on what matters most, your patients. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please hit the like button, share it with other clinicians who might find this information helpful, and subscribe to the channel. Watch this video here to learn how to choose the right AI medical scribe for your practice.